Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk a little bit about exhaust valve guide wear. And you know, there's a lot of things that play a part in that. How many RPMs you run, what kind of fuel you're burning, what temperature your engine runs at. A lot of things play a part in it. Also, what you have for an exhaust system, what you have for an ignition system. So stay tuned and let's talk about what we can do to go ahead and change those numbers that we see on the valves. And we'll talk a little bit more about them in just a second. So stay tuned. So we would like to ask you, please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content. Now, if you look across this engine, you'll notice how the exhaust valves are. 0.08 on number 1, 0.06 on 2, 0.009 on 3, and 0.003. So you can see where they are, and they're all pretty much about the same. We don't have one other than the number 3 exhaust that's worn more than all the others. But when you add a Powerflow, it tends to cause the valves to wear a little bit more. When you add an electronic ignition, the valve guide wear slows down a bit. We're going to look at that and talk about it, but here are some measurements from out in the field, and we're going to get right to it. Let's talk about that. Now, here we have 3 engines, and roughly about every 100 hours, the exhaust wear was measured across it, and there was a representative averaging of the cylinders. But here you go. The first engine with the blue right there was a normal aspired engine, just a stock Lycoming engine with magnetos and a stock exhaust. The second one had a Powerflow exhaust, so it produced a little bit more power, a little bit more heat, and as you can see, the valve guide wear was a bit more. And then you can look at the wear with an electronic ignition system, and you gotta hate spell checkers because they don't like IGN. They wanted to make it gin. Shouldn't be drinking and flying. And those are the wear on the valve guides with the electronic ignition. So that's how they all came out when you looked at them in the numbers. When you throw them on a graph, let's talk about that. Now, the blue line in the middle is your normally aspired engine. The green line above it is you take that same Tiger engine, you throw a Powerflow on it, look what it does for valve wear. Now, there's a reason why it does that. One, you're producing more power, and that's because the Powerflow creates a vacuum for the cylinder that's about to open its exhaust valve, so that helps suck the exhaust out. Now, that exhaust is burning fuel plasma. It's like steam compared to hot water, so that hot burning plasma transfers a lot of heat to the valve guide, and the valve seat, and that's why it's so that's why it's so destructive, because it's burning fuel plasma. But when you add the electronic ignition, which shows on the bottom of the graph right there, you're burning all the fuel. Since a spark advances, you're burning all the fuel in the cylinder, and there's just a little bit left maybe when the exhaust valve opens, but all that fuel plasma is gone. So now you've got hot air going out the valve, not burning fuel plasma. So that reduces the stress on the engine, which reduces the wear on the exhaust valve guides. And Jimmy Candiletti can tell you all about that. We put electronic ignition because he was changing his cylinders out every 8,000 hours for wear, and since electronic ignition, his exhaust valves are not wearing at the rate they were with a normally aspired engine. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. It all depends on how you operate your engine and what you have for accessories, but there's a little factoid you probably haven't heard from anywhere. We'll probably call Mike Kublik up at ExectroAir and talk to him about this later. But anyway, there you go. These are all our opinions from our work. We hope you found it all useful and informative. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day flying your Grumman. Bye-bye, folks.